Okay, so gonna be discussing chapter 13, Introduction to React, as well as chapter 14, creating navigation header bar. So with introduction to React, um, React is basically just a framework we use to create a user interface or single page application. That is done over here in our index.js over here, and it just basically has this embedded component app, which is the main component we are rendering. And index.js is the main component that launches the application. Then our app.js has basically this over here, this nav bar, which is what I'm going to discuss now in chapter 13, 14. So basically, for chapter 14, chapter 14, creating a navigation header bar, and basically here it's focusing on adding a navigation to your React app using React Bootstrap and React Router, and sets up basic login and logout state handling using React hooks. So here in this chapter, also go through movies list.js, which basically shows the list of movies. So it's the functionalities that helps you show the list of movies and retrieve all those movies. Movie.js, which displays a single movie. Add review.js and login.js. So let's start here in our in our app. So basically here we have our component function app. It has a hook, set user, changes the state of the variable of user to whatever to whoever the user is, right? So basically that's based on the login and the logout. So this is for logging in, this is for logging out. Then we have this return with this div and the nav bar over here. The nav bar is basically this here. So this is basically the front end of our application, because now we're using React, so we basically have a front end. So basically this is our nav bar up here with movies and login link, and as you can see here, the login link and movies. So let's have a look at our movie list.js. So over here we basically have our movie list function, and it's our component movie list, and it basically has these hooks. So let's first start with this use effect function. Within it we have set current page function that's called, which is basically set over here. This function changes the state of current page from 0 to whatever the current page is on the application. So when you come here, down here within the form, you can see there's an on-click event listener which triggers the set current page function, and when that happens, it changes the state of the variable of current page to an incrementation of 1. So it adds 1 current page to this variable over here. That's what that does. Then use effect, this second use effect hook has retrieve next page function that is called. Retrieve next page function is basically just using find by title and find by rating and retrieve movies in this if statement. So within here it says if the current search mode is equal to find by title, then this function is called. So here's the find by title function, and basically what it does is it's using this find function to just find the movie by searching the specific title, right? So yeah, so pass the search title and current page to the API call. Then in this else if block, it uses find by rating function, and find by rating is over here, which basically just uses set current search mode to change the state of the search mode, and then if the search rating is equal to all ratings, then it's going to retrieve movies. So it calls that retrieve movies function. Retrieve movie function basically just uses get ratings to retrieve all those movies. So I'll get to that now. But yeah, that's what this if statement does. Then this user fed uses retrieve movies and also retrieve ratings to get the specific movies and the ratings. So here is the function that is called retrieve movies. So basically it is going to use the get all function, right? So this get all function comes from this movie data service class, which is basically set in our services movies. So basically if you come up here, we make this import movie data service class from services movies. Movies is over here. So here's our movie data service class, and here is our get all function that we use in the retrieve movies function. So basically it just uses Axios. So all of these functions within movie data service are using Axios Axios API requests to get, post, put or delete specific reviews or movies. So over here it is using Axios.get to get all the movies from the API endpoint. So that's what we use over here, and yeah, it gets all those movies for that current page that it's on. And then it goes in this then promise, uses set movies function to set the state of the variable or state of data in the variable to response.data.movies. So it will give all the movies to this list. So it changes the state of this data. Then call set current page to change the current page, and set entries page as well. Then here we have retrieve ratings, which calls the get ratings function from movies data services, which is also in our services over here. Get ratings, so that is over here. So it's just gonna get all the ratings from the API endpoint. Here it's using onChange search title, so it's gonna change the what we input in the search box essentially. So as I input here, it changes the state of that data with this function here, set search title. And then here as well, set search rating with the same for the rating. Then we have here this find function or method, which uses the find method from this from the movie data service class. It does that to find the specific movies, and it does that, and after it uses set movies to set the state of data to the movies that are found. This is just finding movies by searching the title, and also finding ratings with search rating. Then we have here this form, and that's where the actual interaction of the interaction with the front end takes place and triggers specific functions. So for instance, over here we have find by rating. That's triggered when we click the button, the search button. So as soon as we click that search button in our front end, then it goes and it finds by the specific ratings. And it finds the movies by the specific ratings, and you see them here. Then yeah, that's basically how movies list works. Then we have our movie.js, which basically displays detailed info about a specific movie, shows a list of reviews for that movie, and allows logged in users to add, edit, or delete their reviews. So over here we have const movie. So this is our component, and with a hook, and uses set movie to change the state of data in movie to whatever the movie ID is, the title is, rated, and reviews is. So get movie function basically uses the get method to get the movies by its ID. Then we have delete review, which is for deleting a movie, and that's done using the splice method. No, it's actually done using this delete review function from the movie data source class, and then splice removes it from the database. And yeah, that's how that works. There's also a login .js, which helps with logging in, and it changes the state of data based off whatever name the user puts in and the ID, and it changes the name with this function and changes the ID with this. And then here's the form to log in. So yeah, that's basically how those three components work, as well as app.js as well. Then basically also what we did today is we used Postman to make a post request. The post request we're doing is adding a specific movie to our front end. So creating a movie and adding a movie to the front end. So we choose post here, and well, first step is actually to, before we didn't have a specific route. The route that we don't have, or that we didn't have, is this post request route, which allows us to add a specific movie to the database and the front end. So went ahead and added post movies controller .api post movie. So this is the route for the post request for posting a movie. Then I went to my movies controller and added API post movie function over here, and basically placed this structure of my JSON format over here in my movie data function, in my movie data variable. So it takes a title, plot, the rated, and the poster. Then within the API post movie, I have placed this add movie function, which is from my movies DAO. That's the actual function that adds the movie. So in my movies DAO, I create this function which basically adds the movie using insert one, and it's going to insert that movie into the database, which will show in the front end as well. After doing that, I come here and place my JSON formatted data for the movie that I want to add. So I place here the title, the plot, the rating, and the poster, which is the picture that will be displayed. So put the title and all of that, and when I click send, it basically says the status is successful, meaning the movie's been added to the database. So I open my database, I can see here, I see here the Matrix title, the plot, as well as the rated and the actual poster picture that will be showed there. And in my front end, when I search the movie that I added, I can see here, this is the one I created. So you can check that it matches. So we can see the plot. Sorry, wrong one. Here's the plot, the title, rating, and the poster. And it shows here the plot, rating, title, and the poster. So yeah, that's how I made the post request to add specific movies to my database and my front end. So that's basically summary of chapter 13 and 14.